Hello and welcome to this Sunday, August 4th, 2019 episode of Tesla Sidekick. Now, in today's episode, I've been going through to get a better handle on what's going on with the Tesla Semi, with the Gigafactory. And on Sundays, that's normally the topic of this episode. Gigafactory and Tesla Semi updates. So some updates this week. One of the things that I actually had seen is that production may start as early as November at the Gigafactory 3. And now I watched a video, and you can see such extraordinary progress. It's literally mesmerizing. Let me see if I can find the video again. Well, oh yeah, here you go. So there's this guy, Jason Yang, and he's been doing these videos. And then on August 3rd, it's like January, February, April, they're starting to see, then May, and then June. And now it's like the outside is like a real building in 6 months. And well, I mean, the amount of time that they were actually working on the structure itself, they were working on the land, and then it happened so fast. And to see that, it makes me so inspired to know that I am going to be able to build these houses and spaces, villages rapidly, like I believe, so that people can be housed, so that we can create the food infrastructure in these areas as well and decentralize it. We're going to do some amazing things so that food isn't traveling so much, that food is produced where it is needed, so that there's minimal waste. There's going to be a lot of things in the villages of the future. But when you look at what Tesla's doing, it's just like, yes, this is a step in that direction. So when I look at the video, I see a lot of fossil fuel stuff, a lot of stuff that's ripe for innovation. These are opportunities. There are so many opportunities for people to start companies, to innovate. There are so many opportunities to make money. And if you just watch Tesla, you can see opportunities. And if you learn how to engineer, you get the education, you can literally do whatever you set your mind to. And if you become passionate about a certain type of equipment and innovate upon it so that it's not using up a bunch of fossil fuels, that's incredible. And, since today's also about the Tesla Semi, a lot of it was semis and trucks and stuff like that driving all around. Tesla is going to be literally innovating in so many ways. If you innovate and do it the Tesla way, it leaves you open for acquisitions and partnerships and all sorts of things. So that's part of what this podcast is to inspire people to innovate and help push Tesla forward as well. Now, there was a death. A Tesla employee died at the Gigafactory earlier this month at Gigafactory 1, from what I had seen. Oh, yeah, it was Gigafactory 1, Nevada. So OSHA was looking into it, and appears to be medical in nature. OSHA was properly notified, and one of the things that this has brought into light is that, according to OSHA, Tesla employees have spent double the amount of time on work for illness or injury last year than the year before. So double. Now, I don't know how they came to that, but it may be from these more demanding production schedules. And my wife had worked in a factory before. When you work in a shop, your body is moving a lot and you're doing things that your body may not be able to withstand. So that's probably part of the reason for it. And, it's not unionized. Some of this stuff is going to be reported on more than usual. But I do know that My wife sustained a lot of damage. Everyone I know, every woman that I've known, especially, has sustained some sort of damage. And I think it's because they worked harder than the men, in all honesty. Because these women that I know that they did that this happened, they were machines, they were workaholics, and so they were probably working hard, and that's what happens. So we don't know exactly what happened, but they were fined $30,000. That's nothing in the grand scheme of things. There were 6 labor violations in California when they constructed the production tent. It's like little things that can happen, not to be taken lightly, but it's about safety and those sorts of things. This death had nothing to do with safety. It was medical in nature. So all these other safety things that are being brought up are things to take into account, but in reality, what are they compared to other companies, other similar companies? And what can we do to minimize risk of an injury in the future? So if you specialize in that sort of thing, in minimizing injury in a production environment, you have an opportunity to go to Tesla and help them out. Now, moving on to the Tesla Semi, the first thing I want to mention is from actually May 1st, but a guy under the handle @SpenceU, YOU, he basically has a video of a driverless Tesla Semi coming up from behind him. You can see the steering wheel and stuff, but you can't see a person behind the steering wheel. It's kind of interesting. It's pretty cool. But also raised questions as to why that was allowed to happen. The fact of the matter is the technology is improving at such a rate that we're going to see a lot of weird stuff like that in the future. It's just going to continue to happen. So with the Tesla Semi, I just want to round this episode out with Van Lifer is a motorhome company, I guess. Let me open it up. Vanlifer.com. So they do conversions, rentals, things like that. And they came out with the concept. Oh, yeah, look at this. So they've got all kinds of camper conversions, but I don't know what it's to convert. I mean, this is kind of weird. Their website doesn't have a whole lot. Oh, a transit van conversion. Okay. I get it. So that's what they're doing, and they came out with the concept of being a Tesla Semi motorhome. And they called it, so Jason H., founder of this company, came up with this concept. Jason Hablaus. So anyway, Jason H., he came out with this concept. And this is basically, if you're watching the video, you can kind of see their website is vanlifer.com. And they came out with this concept. It's just basically hand-drawn on the inside right now, but they talk about why they think this will work, and the driverless autonomous driving is an exciting part. The all-electric with the 500-mile range, fully loaded, is pretty interesting because this is not going to be fully loaded. It's perfect. It should be perfectly capable of doing this sort of thing. They don't know, though. It's just a guess. So, I mean, it's designed to run 1 million miles, and even if motors go out, it will continue to drive. And that's the thing with motorhomes. If a motorhome breaks down, it's like it's a pain. And I've seen a lot of motorhomes really cheap, and I've thought about buying them, but I haven't specifically because of that. It's much better to buy a camper, a travel trailer, or a fifth wheel, because then you can pull it with a truck, or like we have a 1-ton van. And that 1-ton van pulls our camper, and that's why I'm prototyping these spaces for the future. And that's where the Gigafactory, the semi, all these things really start to excite me the most. Because in building the villages of the future, Tesla technology will be used heavily. And the Gigafactory inspires me personally to build cities of the future, and inspires me and helps me to believe and have self-confidence that we can do this, that these buildings can be constructed and out of nowhere, and one man's mission and vision and a lot of other people's cooperation can do amazing things. There are over 45,000 employees that I had read recently through Tesla. That's huge. Elon's not doing this all himself. He's doing the guiding of the company, and that's what the CEO has got to do. And my guidance is to help push this forward through these shows to get the right people doing the right things to build the villages of the future, to house people, to feed people, to empower people, to live, work, play, love, learn, pay it forward. And I'm really interested in the Gigafactory one in Sparks, Nevada, because you see some housing at Gigafactory 3. Well, it looks like it could be housing, maybe some housing, some office space, stuff like that. And Elon Musk has talked about housing at the Gigafactory. I've looked up property, and I really believe that one of our initial villages will be near the Gigafactory 1. So I think this is the first time I'm actually saying it. I've talked to my wife. We may be moving there in about 6 months. So while I'm doing this phase of Series A fundraising, it's going to depend on what happens in Jackson. So far, Jackson is kind of, actually, the biggest group of people that could help me within Jackson rejected me, flat out rejected me. So I think it's time for me to move on. And my wife thinks she needs about another 6 months till the end of the year. And I have a client that I'm also helping until the end of the year. So I think that's okay. And then maybe in 2020, we'll be starting construction of the initial village in January, and then be finished with the initial village by January 2021, or at least a long way toward completion. I mean, I would like to have a lot of houses built and a lot of houses constructed. Over that year, I believe at least 2,000 units will be constructed there, probably considerably more. 2020 can be a big year, but I've got to stay on task, and that's what the purpose of this is. And that's why I have the day structured as I do. Tesla is so significant to this. Apple is so significant to this. These things are so important. Gary Vee and his people, he has so many young people, millions of young people following him that need to be starting their own thing. So I'm leveraging his stuff as well, his work. So I'm leveraging Gary Vee. I'm leveraging my own things. I'm leveraging Apple. I'm leveraging Tesla. I'm leveraging 60-second branding. That's just branding in general, talking about my own processes in 60-second clips. They're sometimes a little longer. And then the Law of Success Mastermind, using Napoleon Hill's teaching for the Law of Success that's based off of the people that invented the world. Henry Ford, Rockefeller, all these people that invented the world. Henry Ford has inspired so many things. It's like, if you like Tesla, you should be reading all of Napoleon Hill's text and understanding as much as you possibly can about Henry Ford, because it's an inspiring story, and we all should be striving for doing more, because that's what this is. I mean, not all of us, but anyone that's in my inner circle and anyone that's watching this, it's a different type of people. So I appreciate you watching, and I hope this added value to you. Join us on YouTube, join us on Facebook, Twitter, all of these things. I'm going to be getting Instagram right after I end with this show. So Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, YouTube. Comment on the videos, like the videos, stuff like that. And tell me what you want to hear about. Tell me what you want to know about. These videos are going to continue to get better. I'm going to be bringing more and more people on. If you're interested in being part of this, let me know, because we're going to be growing very fast and be hiring a lot of people. So I want the best. And if you feel like you're ready to feed, house, and empower 1 billion people, or be part of that kind of a mission, this is for you. Thank you for another episode of Tesla Sidekick.